So, hi everybody, Dacob here. I have another theory for you guys. I couldn't sleep. I'm always like totally obsessed with this Twin Peaks ending, and the more time passes and the more I'm loving it. So, oh wow, thumbs up already. Well, thank you. That was fast. 2 thumbs up. Yay. Okay, guys, listen. I've been thinking about this, and I wrote pages and pages and pages because it keeps rolling in my mind, and we're gonna deal with this little fella here, and I'm gonna get straight to it. As you can see from the title, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't watched anything Twin Peaks related, please stop watching this because this is like one of those ultimate spoilers. Oh, one of my caps here, that way. But this is the thing. The scene with the giant, it's been going through my mind over and over and over and over again. From part 1, the giant, well, let's call him the giant because in part 1 we still didn't know that he was indeed the fireman because he was still, named with 7 question marks at the end of the episode. Credited with 7 question marks. So let's call him the giant for now. So I'm talking about the particular scene where actually Lynch gives us all the information we need to know in typical Lynch style, minimizing, condensing everything in like a minimum kind of quantity of information within that snippet of the giant talking to Cooper. Now, you're going to have to bear with me. This is going to be a long process, but we're going to get to a point. And there, oh boy, is there a point. And I don't know if anybody already has seen what I'm about to say, if anybody else has noticed it. I've been watching videos, reading texts about, your guys' theories and everything, and they're all incredible theories, but I haven't found this one particular thing mentioned anywhere. If somebody else mentioned it, great. Otherwise, then sorry, then somebody else did it. But otherwise, it was mind-blowing for me. So anyway, let's get straight to it. So I wanted to dissect what the giant told Cooper in this black and white room scenario, what it meant or didn't mean, and where specifically I've been asking myself, it was very mind-boggling to me. Chronologically speaking, as chronological as we can get within Twin Peaks, because time almost plays absolutely... There's like no reason for time and no logic within and for time in Twin Peaks. But chronologically within the series, I was thinking, when does the scene with the giant and Cooper play in? Where is it? Well, we're going to get our answer. At least I have a theory about that. So let me kind of read into it a little bit. I'm going to read a little bit what I wrote, and then I'm also going to... Oh, Nick is online. Hi, Nick. How you doing? So, Nick, just to let you know, and all of you, I was really disappointed at the end of... thank you for the... Yes, nice shirt, says Nick. Thank you, Nick. Nick has been very disappointed about the ending of Twin Peaks. In the beginning, so have I been. But the more time passes, the more I'm loving it. And I'm at the point right now where I'm really happy about it. About the ending. About the last episode. Anyway. So we're talking about the scene in part 1 where Cooper meets the giant, the fireman, in what we believe is the White Lodge. Cooper is seated in front of the fireman giant, but we still do not know what the giant is indeed called, that he is indeed called the fireman. We don't know it just yet. He's credited at the end of the episode with 7 question marks. 7 question marks are the 7 letters that spell out fireman. Now, coincidentally, the insurance company Dougie is working for is called the Lucky 7. I think this is connected in a way because partially the giant, aka the fireman, is responsible for the creation within the subconscious of Cooper of the entire season 3, basically. Everything that happened in season 3 was a dream of Cooper's. And we're going to get to the proof. The proof is in the pudding. So listen to this. Oh, I could read all of this, or should I just get to the actual point? Ha ha ha. Let me see. Let's go back a couple of steps. In typical Lynch fashion, as the season begins, we are immediately given all the elements we need to unlock the entire upcoming mystery. But Lynch dissects the story plot line into only a few gestures and minimizes everything only into a few key words. He then leaves us, the viewers, like fish stranded on a river shore without water. He leaves us like fish out of water, with water just barely in sight but not quite reachable, so we begin to flop our fins and we begin to suffocate and we dry out, but we always have that visual of the water in sight. He shows the water, but he never quite allows us to reach that water, and he is a master at keeping us just barely alive and always hoping we can reach the water in time right before we dry out and die on the river's shore next to the dead body of Laura Palmer wrapped in plastic. Except this time, at the end, there is no Laura Palmer wrapped in plastic, as Pete Martell so lovingly says in Twin Peaks Season 1. So what does the giant fireman actually say to Cooper in part 1 of The Return? And when does this scene happen chronologically in the story of The Return? And what does what he says actually mean? And what truths and facts does it really deliver? So here are my theories, guys. The giant speaks backwards and he appears always in dreams. There's a reason, I believe, that Lynch called the giant in this season Fireman, and he didn't call him Fireman in the past. This because I believe he wanted to give him a different character. Also because he wanted to avoid more than prove. He wanted to avoid a possible discrepancy of logic between how the giant appears and in which instances the giant appears in season 1 and 2. And how he wants the fireman to be portrayed. In fact, according to this logic that I'm going to explain to you, the fireman and the giant are two different entities. Otherwise, this logic that I'm going to get to wouldn't work at all. But it works within the logic of the giant being a different entity from the fireman. Why? Because the fireman only appears in dreams. You have to sleep and dream in order to see the fireman. Otherwise, you don't see him. Now, sleeping and dreaming can be you faint. You could still, your subconscious can connect with the fireman. Or you're blocked in the lodge for 25 years, and at times you have these drifting in and out of consciousness and sleep. And you can get in touch with him. The giant says... Now, they're both seated, the giant and Cooper, in armchairs, not like the ones in the red room. They have more texture to them. The giant speaks backwards and says, Agent Cooper. And here we start getting to this point. I just have one pin here. This is not Cooper's pin. The pin that he has on his lapel, which is here. On his jacket, Cooper's pin. It's always there in the Black Lodge. Notice it. Go back. I've been rewatching all the episodes to kind of collect proof. Cooper is talking to the fireman. There's no pin on his lapel. Bear that in mind for now. The giant says, listen to the sounds. And then we hear that like something, some weird thing. And the sound is coming from a gramophone or a phonograph. It looks like 20s related, but truth be told, a phonograph, it was invented in 1877, and a phonograph can both reproduce and record sounds. Interesting tidbit of information. The sound sequence seems to be repeated 7 times, or 6.5 times, because the first time the sequence plays out is a bit shorter. But it almost turns out to be a 7 repetition sequence. Again, 7 is the letter of the fireman, and 7 is also the lucky 7 scenario invented and created. We're going to get to it. This is my theory. It's all a dream. Created for Dougie Cooper to be safe in during the season. The giant says, listen to the sounds. We hear the sounds. The giant keeps keeps going by saying, it is in our house now. Cooper looks worried towards his right, towards the phonograph, then looks worried back towards the giant and says, "It is." Cooper speaks normally as he did in the Black Lodge. He never spoke backwards in the lodges, as did all the other characters, though. They all spoke backwards except him, when he was not a doppelganger. The giant says, "It all cannot be said aloud now," because somebody might be listening. Cooper looks worried towards the giant. The giant says, "Remember, 430. Cooper looks at the giant as he memorizes the number. The giant says, "Richard and Linda." And then we have this red herring, or so we think, throughout the whole season, thinking Richard Horn is the Richard meant to be Cooper's son, and Linda, which we don't get to see, but we hear her mentioned as living in the Fat Trot Trailer Park, the new Fat Trot Trailer Park, being his daughter. Turns out Cooper is Richard in Reality 3.0, and Linda, and Diane is Linda in Reality 3.0. What is Reality 3.0? You should check out my other video where I explain the 3 realities of Twin Peaks. And my other video is entitled Twin Peaks 2017 Series Finale Explanation, Judy Theory, and the Judy Theory. But I'll link it as soon as I'm done with this video in the comment section, in the description box below. The giant keeps going and says, "The 2 birds with 1 stone." Cooper still looking intensely towards the giant. Cooper says, "I understand." The giant says, and this is the key point where he says, "You are far away." Cooper then disappears from the armchair from the fireman's room, world, or lodge. The way he disappears is different from the way Andy disappeared a couple of parts or episodes ago. Cooper disappears through defragmentation, while Andy just disappeared with one vanish, click, and he was gone immediately. Important to note, I also state, the way Cooper vanishes from the fireman's room by fragmentation is very similar to the way Laura Palmer's body vanishes from the river's shore as she gets saved in the past by Cooper. And also it's the same way he gets fragmented and appears through fragmentation into the snippet of the scene of Fire Walk With Me in black and white, when Laura is talking to James and she looks and screams, and we figure out that what she screamed at was because she saw Cooper. The second Cooper and Laura take each other's hand, we see the dead Laura defragmented from the shore, and the scene with Cooper turns from black and white to color. It's like we are from the past to the present. Now, let me open a little parenthesis here. I've been asking myself, if Laura screamed back in Fire Walk With Me when she was with James but saw Cooper in the distance, then why did Cooper not save her already back then when we watched Fire Walk With Me? He was obviously there back then, or was somebody else there back then? So why did he have no memory of it at all in Twin Peaks Season 1 and 2 or in Fire Walk With Me? And why does he only now end up saving her? What changed to make him be able to save her now as opposed to not saving her back then? Because he was obviously there back then too, because she did scream, because she saw something back then too. It makes no sense unless this now that we're living in is a dream. And it's Cooper's wishful thinking that leads him to think he saved Laura when indeed he never truly saved her. Laura is still dead, and in fact Laura is still not safe after he saves her from Bob, like in a dream. We never meet our goal in a dream, really. You know, we keep going in circles. When we dream, we think we can run away, but we are standing still in one place and we can't move, we're stuck. You think you could scream in a dream, you could cry in a dream, but you don't have your voice. Very similar to Nido. Nido's when she's voiceless, I've dreamt this so many times in the past when I'm just like, something horrible has happened, a spider is attacking me or somebody's killing my family. I don't know what I'm dreaming of, and I want to scream, I want to cry, and no voice comes out of my mouth. That is so typical for a dream scenario. I've been there. So as Cooper saves Laura, he immediately has to save her again, and so on, until he wakes up from the dream at one point. And that could be the end of season 3. But back to the Giant's opening talk with Cooper. What does it all mean? Lynch delivers all the information we need to know, hyper-concentrated elements of the puzzle all in one spot. In fact, we already see Judy in part 2 already. We already see Judy in the glass box. Now, we even have Mr. C showing the playing card to Daria with the drawing of Judy. He says, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. Well, want, need. No, he doesn't say need. This is what I'm looking for. So we know everything already. We just don't get explanations yet. But then once we got the explanations, or once we figure out the pieces of the puzzle at the end, we go back and we think, oh, of course, it was all there from day one. People ask themselves, you know, because I hypothesize that Judy isn't all that bad of an entity, and then people say, but why would she kill some if she breaks out of the glass box, which I believe Mr. C built in order to try to trap Judy and contain her. It didn't work out. Because Judy's pissed when she gets trapped in that trap and breaks out and kills whatever she finds there at that moment. Maybe because she thought that's what created the trap in the first place, to contain her. So the fact that it's collateral damage, maybe, the fact that Sam and Tracy got killed. We're not sure about that. But you know what I mean? That's a possibility. It's giving me very bad connection, so I hope you still see me, even though the connection is bad. Yeah, seems like we're still there. Good. Oh, hi, Melinda. All right. So, Agent Cooper, okay, listen. The Giant is talking to Cooper. Cooper does not have he doesn't have this pin on, obviously. He has some FBI pin or something on. But just to prove my point, Cooper does not have the pin when he's talking to the Giant. Now, it's all about the pin, guys. The pin, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. Let me tell you why. Mind-blowing. I was mind-blown. Okay. Now, Cooper had his pin all the time when he was in the lodge, until the purple world, when he went through the electrical socket number 3. Then his shoes fall off as he goes through this electrical socket and appears in Las Vegas or in Rancho Rosa or wherever. His shoes fall off. We don't see his pin fall off. But as he appears in Las Vegas, he don't have his pin on anymore. This pin, not there. And throughout the entire season, as Cooper is allegedly in Reality 1.0, like the world of Twin Peaks and the world of Las Vegas and New York, he doesn't have his pin on. Never. Never. So much so that even when he wakes up from his coma in the hospital in part 16, and with the Mitchum brothers flies off to Twin Peaks and is in the car driving to the sheriff's station and arrives to the sheriff's station, and, you know, Mr. C gets killed, or Bob gets killed, Mr. C gets defeated, disappears, and goes into the Black Lodge. Cooper still doesn't have... Go check it out, guys. Cooper doesn't have his pin on. Then Nido comes to Cooper. They touch hands. We have like an overimposed image of Cooper's face telling... what does he say? We live inside a dream. Cooper still doesn't have his pin on. Nido turns to Diane. She transforms. The curse has been lifted. Then Cooper says, I hope I see all of you again, every one of you. Things might change from this moment on. He says something like that. All of a sudden, we still have this overimposed image of Cooper, but he's cut up to here. We don't see the lapel. We don't see if he has a pin on or not. He's cut there. So we have his big face, and all of a sudden, the room, the sheriff's station in Twin Peaks, starts vanishing in front of our very eyes. All of these characters disappear, except for Diane. He's holding her hand. He's taking her with him. And Gordon comes with him as well, because Gordon yells, Coop. Cooper says, Gordon. They yell at each other. They kind of connect. And the three of them, Cooper, Diane, and Gordon, all of a sudden are in this black space walking towards the cellar of the Great Northern Hotel. What do we see there? Cooper all of a sudden has his pin on. And I'm going to put on the pin, because now we're different. Everything has changed. Cooper has his pin all of a sudden. He didn't have it 1 second ago in the sheriff's station. He didn't have it from the moment he enters from the electrical socket into part 3, episode 3 of Twin Peaks. He never had his pin. From before that, in the Black Lodge, whenever he's in the Black Lodge, whenever we see a scene of him in the Black Lodge, he has his pin on. He doesn't have it when he's talking to the giant. Why? Because, and this is where chronologically we get to the point where I think he actually met the giant in the black and white room. He met the giant right there as the room starts vanishing at the sheriff's station, before he's in this black space with Diane and Gordon Cole. This is where we're with the giant. In fact, notice the sound of the gramophone in the sheriff's station right before the dream dissolves. We hear that noise when the giant says, "It is in our house now." And we hear that. So that's the moment when Cooper is actually in parallel time with the giant. I believe that's where he meets the giant. Because he was never in the real world. This was all a dream. He didn't have his pin on. He never had his pin on. And when he's talking to the giant, also he doesn't have the pin on. But once he's done talking to the giant, he defragments and disappears from the black and white room. We're in the black space with Diane, Gordon, and Cooper walking towards the cellar of the Great Northern. Bam! All of a sudden, this thing is there. Why? Because we're still in the Black Lodge now. Cooper never left the Black Lodge. The real Cooper was in the Black Lodge all this time, dreaming up everything. So, even more so to confirm that it's all a dream, within the Black Lodge, he's now shifting from his dream into his reality being him in the Black Lodge. This is so spooky. I have the key. He takes out the 315 key and unlocks a door in the cellar of the Great Northern. We know it's impossible because that key would unlock a room from the upper floors above the convenience store, a higher floor, not cellar. And yet within the lodges, reality works different. He unlocks the door of the cellar. Mike is waiting for him. Now, some of you are going to say, but wait a second, Dacob. Why is Mike not talking backwards to him? Why is Mike talking like real? For the first time in this series, Mike is the one-armed man, is talking normally to him, not in reverse. Because Cooper is dreaming this up as well. Cooper is creating a reality in which he thinks he's in the real world, so Mike would talk normally. But anyway, Mike takes him above the convenience store. They talk to Jeffries. Now at this point, Jeffries, gives him information. Where do I have here? When he meets Jeffries, Jeffries says, be specific. Cooper says, February 23rd, 1989. Jeffrey says, okay, this is where you're going to find Judy. There may be someone. Did you ask me this? And then we have the owl cave symbol. These two bits detach and turn around and come on top of here. So we have that and this, and it becomes an infinity sign. And then we get, notice, let me take one more brooch, one more pin. So the infinity sign gets like one little dot here. And then the infinity sign flips, the dot is there, and then it shifts back here. This tells us that we are going to experience in the very near future, chronologically in terms of episodes of the series, we're going to experience another parallel universe, mirrored scenario, which is going to be Dale Cooper with Laura Palmer in Odessa going back to Twin Peaks. But we'll get to that later. Cooper from this moment on has his pin on. Jeffrey sends him back to the past. Cooper has his pin on. Laura Palmer's with James on the bike the night she was supposed to die. She sees Cooper. She screams. He has his pin on. She runs away from James in the woods. Cooper finds her. He has his pin on. He gives her his hand. She reaches for his hand. They start walking. He has his pin on. What we seem to be passing close to, there's one scene in particular, to have a very close look in this dark, dark woods where we pass by Jack Rabbit's farm. So it would seem. There's that one thin tree that looks like the sycamore tree, the entrance to the White Lodge. They're somewhere there. And then we hear again that gramophone sound, screeching sound, and then she disappears. We hear the scream and she's gone, and then we have this vanishing situation that we had in part 1 already. Lynch already told us everything in the first episode. We just now start figuring it out. Laura is gone. Episode 18, we're in the Black Lodge. Cooper has his pin on, because we're still in the Black Lodge. We've always been in the Black Lodge. Laura is not there in the same scene. The same scenes are shot from different angle or from different perspectives. She does appear again at one point, not in the same time as she would appear in part 1. In part 18, Laura does appear again. We see a different perspective of her screaming and disappearing after she whispered into his ear. Of course, she's been taken out of that particular reality again. Cooper this time arrives to Leland Palmer, not from left to right, but from right to left. And Leland repeats, "Find Laura." Because Jeffrey's inverted reality, we have that infinite sign that turned like that, and then the little bubble or the seed moved. This time, Cooper doesn't leave there. After talking to Leland Palmer, he goes out this way after talking to Leland Palmer, and he enters the red room corridor that starts shaking, the curtain starts shaking. Stop right there. Let's rewind a second. What did Cooper, he had his pin on, we're in the cellar of the Great Northern Hotel. Before he unlocks the door to enter, before he unlocks the door with his key, to enter and meet Mike on the other side and go above the convenience store and then into the Black Lodge, what does he say to Diane? "See you at the curtain call." See you at the curtain call. We're all thinking, oh, how symbolic, how this, how that, oh, wow, sad, tragic, it's all ending. Very simple, the curtain call, and he said it to Diane, not to Gordon Cole. Now, after Leland, he exited this way. Leland says, "Find Laura." Cooper finds the right exit. Mind you, episode or part 18 begins with the doppelganger Coop, or Mr. C, burning with his eyes white, because he's a doppelganger in the Black Lodge. He's burning. He's not disappearing. He's sitting. He's blocked. He's like chained by the fire. He's burning. The doppelganger is back in the Black Lodge. We knew this from day one. A lot of us weren't thinking about it, me included. It was very clear. The rules are clear. As long as the doppelganger doesn't return, the good Cooper cannot leave the Black Lodge. In fact, pin, always guys, check your pin. He was always in the Black Lodge the entire freaking season. Only now that the doppelganger, through the vision and the dream of Cooper, desiring him to come back, the doppelganger did return. Cooper wanted the doppelganger to do several things, and he made him do several things. And this is why in my other video I made 2 days ago, I was referring to the fact that Mr. C isn't evil in terms of just pure evil. Cooper is the one who dreamt up everything. Cooper made him do everything. Cooper was controlling his shadow self the entire time. Now that the doppelganger is back in the Black Lodge, finally Cooper can really leave. Cooper exits to the other side after talking to Leland Palmer. That thin corridor of the Black Lodge, the curtain starts shaking, and he can finally make his way through. And now the truth, he said to Diane in the cellar of the Great Northern, "See at the curtain call?" Now we get Glastonbury Grove. We get our circle of sycamore trees. We have the red curtains. Cooper appears from behind the red curtains. They're all shut. That is the curtain call. He exits for the first time. I get goosebumps. He exits for the first time in 25 to 27 years, actually, for real this time, the Black Lodge. He has his pin on. And behind him, the red curtains, that's the curtain call. Diane is alone because she knew all along what the plan was. She's waiting for him at Glastonbury Grove. As he walks towards her, you notice that the red curtains of the Black Lodge disappear. The entrance to the lodge is closed. That was the curtain call. He then drives off with Diane 430 miles away from Twin Peaks to the point where the electrical cords connections are, and they're ready to cross that border to the other reality, other dimension. He always has his pin on. From this moment on, it is Cooper. The return actually happens as he exits the Black Lodge for real, in Twin Peaks terms, real. He enters that, what I explained in my past video, Reality 1.0. He enters Twin Peaks, and you see the proof is on the pin. And the shocking thing is, for real, guys, go check out that scene again in part 17 when he arrives at the sheriff's station, and all the other episodes, from episode 3 to episode 17, he never has his pin. Until in episode 17, we see his face overimposed and the whole thing, and on the whole scene, and he says, "We're all living in a dream. It's all a dream." Sheriff's station vanishes. He says, "I hope to see you all again soon," because he's waking up from this dream. They all disappear. All his creation of his imagination is gone. And he's on this black space with Diane and Gordon Cole walking through the cellar of the Great Northern. And he has the pin on. All of a sudden, out of the blue, the pin is there because now we're in the lodge. So now he exits the lodge. Finally, he can. He has the pin on. They're driving where they're driving to. And then we have this whole scenario, in Odessa happening. And they're crossing the borderline. And things change and shift. But from that moment on, it is really Cooper. He really exited the Black Lodge. It took him 17 episodes, 18 actually. In the 18th, he really exits. For real this time. He's really out of the Black Lodge. He woke up from that dream, from that nightmare, if you want. In many ways, nightmare. In many ways, a wonderful dream because we got to live it with him. And now we are ready for the new episode, for the new season. Cooper is finally out of the Black Lodge with his pin. And the pin it's always been about the pin, guys. As simple, as stupid as it is. And I was mind blown when I saw it. I didn't notice. I had to rewatch it I don't know how many times. And I was like, as I started writing these 50 pages analysis on the giant talking to Cooper at the beginning of the first episode, I was so intrigued by the fact that his lapel didn't have that pin. And I was like, Dacob, why, what's about the pin? And then I'm like, the pin. Wait a minute. He always has it in the lodge. He has it in the purple room. He goes through the socket number 3. The pin is gone. Because he never really went through the socket number 3. He never left. He never left the lodge until the end. And we had all the rules and regulations set in place. It was so obvious. The white horse in the room, let's call it the elephant in the room. We knew. It was told to him, you cannot leave before the other one doesn't come in. And in fact, that's what happened. The real Cooper left only after Mr. C was in the Black Lodge again. And the proof is the pin. So guys, go check out the pin. Go check out the scenes if you don't believe me. Dissect them. See each and every scene, all the sequences. It's amazing. It's so simple. It was there all the time. And in my personal humble opinion, he met the giant in the black and white room in that moment when he was in the sheriff's office, when he was dreaming to be in the sheriff's office, in Frank Truman's sheriff's office with all the other characters at the beginning of episode 17. As that scenario vanishes and disappears, that's the moment more or less when he meets the giant. And in fact, the giant ends the speech from part 1 of The Return. He says, "You are far away." Where's the giant? He says, "You are far away." Because Cooper was without the pin. It was the dreaming Cooper being in the giant's fireman's space. Now you're going to ask yourself, wait a minute, why doesn't he have the pin when he's with the giant? Well, because Cooper is dreaming up all of this reality. The dream of Cooper is always where Cooper doesn't have the pin. That's my theory. Why does he not have the pin when he's talking to the giant? Because, with the fireman, sorry, and this is why Lynch gave the fireman name Fireman and not Giant anymore, because he wanted to make a very clear statement about the fact that the fireman only appears in dreams. Cooper can only dream of him. Cooper cannot see him in real life. In fact, a part of his dream was to dream, the giant was communicating to Cooper through his dreams. That's what the giant always did, really. Well, the fireman now. But he always communicates, in particular in this season, through the dream. He does not communicate in any other way with Cooper, but through a dream. Or through losing consciousness. Why did the giant talk to Andy? Cooper dreamed that up as well. But Andy could have fainted, at the entrance of the White Lodge, shocked by the fear or whatever. And then being unconscious, he could have communicated with the giant. It could have been Cooper just dreaming it all up, because in fact, it was Cooper dreaming it all. So there you have it, Cooper Dreamer Droomer. The dreamer in this case, in my personal opinion, was Cooper, and it's all in the pin. The proof is in the pin, not in the pudding. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope we're getting a little bit closer to solving more of these mysteries. I mean, it's so mind-boggling, but having all that in mind, I am so much more happy about the ending, about the finale, about episode 18, you know? About the silence and the stillness and the slowness of all of this Carrie Page, aka Laura Palmer, because that's a different reality altogether. That's a different can of worms that we just opened up. Because now that Cooper is finally out of the lodge, he has a lot of shit to deal with. And more than ever, I think season 4 is so necessary. And it's going to happen, guys. And now I'm feeling it. And if it's not going to be a season 4, it's going to be an extra episode or two that are only going to be for the Blu-ray or the DVD set, or it's going to be some short release, I don't know, movie for television or something. But we're going to get something. Let me tell you. It's so super exciting. Notice the pin. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to, come up with more of these theories in my sleep. And it's funny. The video I made the other day, which is doing so great. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching it. It's doing so great on YouTube. The other video I made the other day, I woke up. I couldn't sleep. I woke up thinking about it. And the same thing with this giant and the pin. In my sleep, I'm processing Twin Peaks. Lynch, what are you doing to us? You're messing with our brains totally. Anyway. Oh, Eileen the Queen says, hubby said they're negotiating season 4. Yes. Wait, Eileen, how do you know? Is your husband like in the... I have a... Are you sure, Eileen? Like, for real? Like, Eileen, how do you know? Please tell. I mean, I'm shocked now. Is this for real? How does your husband know that they're negotiating season 4? Drinking coffee. By the way, no promotion, but pumpkin spice latte is back. I'm so addicted. It's Halloween season, guys. The second pumpkin spice latte kicks in. Antonio says, gotta have another season. I signed the petition. Thanks for info, Dacob. Something to look for when rewatching. Yes, guys, it's all in the pin. So, Eileen, where are you? Eileen, tell us, how does your husband know? Is your husband working like in film or something? How does the hubby know that they're negotiating season 4? I'm so excited. You got to let us know. So yes, guys, anyway, I will be coming up with more theories. If you like this video, please do thumb it up. And subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And you could also follow me on Twitter, Instagram. It's all spelled Super Dacob all together. And yes, what does he say? So he's looking on his stream. What do you mean? Whose stream? Eileen, you're so cryptic right now. This is killing me. Melinda says, thank you, Dacob. Thank you too, sweetie. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I might make another video later on today, other topics, but this was our Twin Peaks topic. Thank you so much for watching. I might be back in a couple of minutes with a totally different topic, but as I say, we are human beings. We're not fruit flies. We have a lot of different interests, passions, loves. Twin Peaks happens to be one of my huge passions, but I also have a lot of other different passions. For those of you who have been asking me, why don't I have a channel just for Twin Peaks? I have the channel I have. I'm a fragmented soul. I have so many different interests inside of me. My channel has different playlists. You could choose to watch or follow one particular playlist. You don't need to watch all of the different videos and topics I touch base on. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. See you soon. I'll be back with another video maybe today. Take care. Bye. 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 Bye.